Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today, going to discuss the aftermath of the Gervonta Davis versus Mario Barrios main event Showtime pay-per-view that took place on Saturday, June 26th. You know, guys, if you're not used to my It's On breakdown and aftermath videos, it's a three-part series that I do covering major fights, or even more to the point, my 12 most must-see fighters in all of boxing. And Gervonta Davis is in the top 12 must-see boxers in all of boxing. He sells pay-per-views. He does, you know. He's not a full-on, I don't think he's a full-on pay-per-view guy just yet, but he might be, because his last two have been pay-per-view. And we'll see how the numbers come out from that, you know, Showtime card. But you know, Gervonta Davis is very talented. He's very good. I believe he's 26-0 now with 25 knockouts. I mean, and he's technically a 3-division world champion, no matter what way you want to see that. But, you know, this fight was a major fight for him going against Barrios. He was moving all the way up to 140, and he had never fought over 130 outside of one time when he fought Yuriorkis Gamboa back in December of 2019. And he didn't look great in that fight. He looked like he was out of shape. He was lazy. He even came in overweight for the fight, then ended up making the weight so he could fight for that regular title, the secondary title at 135. You know, he didn't knock a 38-year-old Gamboa who injured his ankle. He didn't knock him out until the 12th round. So just not his best performance. And he decided to go in against a young, undefeated fighter that can mix it up, you know, that has that brawling type style like Barrios does. I thought that was a big risk for him. You know, it showed a lot of courage, a lot of balls to move up against a guy that big. Now, talent-wise, he absolutely was the more talented fighter. But size-wise, it was a jump. It was a risk. And I called it. I said, you know, this was not going to be an easy fight for him, and it wasn't. You know, all the way through the 8th round, you know, that fight was razor thin on the scorecards. It was pretty much even. And then the night after he put Barrios down in the 8th round, in the 9th round, Barrios came back and pretty much won the 9th. But the 10th round spelled the end for Barrios, you know, as Davis just took over, hurt him, and stopped him. And he stays undefeated and captures the 140-pound secondary WBA title at 140. And, you know, it was impressive. It was an impressive win. Probably I don't know if it was the biggest win of his career, but to me it was his toughest test for sure. Because people are going to say, well, Leo Santa Cruz. But here's my argument with the Leo Santa Cruz fight. Is, you know, talent-wise, Leo Santa Cruz absolutely more talented than Mario Barrios. But it's not a big gap in talent. That's one. Two, Leo Santa Cruz, that was a great win, but Santa Cruz started at 118 pounds. He won championships from 118 all the way to 130. Does anybody really think he was a normal size or a big 130-pounder? Maybe because his height, you might be fooled by that, but you shouldn't be, because his frame is small. He is not a natural 130-pounder. He's ballooned up there, and he's had success all the way through featherweight. But he was taking on a guy that more likely is going to be competing at 135 to 140. He might even go all the way up to welterweight at some point in Gervonta Davis. And Davis knocked him out. I wasn't surprised by that. I was surprised that he laid him out the way he did, but I wasn't surprised that he ended up knocking him out. So for me, Barrios was the tougher test, because Barrios was a naturally big 140-pounder, and Davis was moving up to his weight class. So talent becomes very close when size is that big of a difference. And, you know, it can. But Davis passed the test, and it was impressive. So, you know, big ups to Gervonta Davis for that win. Got to give him props. It was a challenge, and he passed that test. For Mario Barrios, you know, you got to give him props too. Barrios, to me, broke into the top 10 in defeat to Gervonta Davis. He was not in my top 10 prior to that because he hadn't fought anybody. And now he has fought somebody. And, you know, that was a big jump in terms of talent for Barrios to challenge. So for me, they both had the same kind of challenge ahead of them. Davis had the size disadvantage that he had. That was his biggest test, going against a guy that size, young brawler. And And then Barrios just going in with a guy with the talent of Gervonta Davis is what Barrios, you know, what was a big deal for Barrios and a big challenge. And you know what? They both, in some sense, passed their test. Davis boxed more, closed the fight, knocked his opponent out, and captured a championship in the third weight class, where Barrios showed that he can compete with guys of Gervonta Davis's talent, at least. And you know, that's a good thing going forward for him, for Barrios to look forward to. He's young, he's an exciting fighter, he's got nothing to hang his head about, and I really hope he doesn't. I was impressed by it, so congrats to him on that. So now we go into, you know, going forward for these guys. First, let's stick with Barrios for a minute. I mean, you know, Barrios just needs to start over from scratch, but if he's smart, I think he comes back by the end of the year, takes on a guy that he can, you know, that he's obviously not on his level. You know, he doesn't want to fight one of those guys. I mean, he does want to fight one of those guys, but he doesn't, you know, need to really go after anybody big in his next fight. I think he should just start there, and then in 2021 or 2022 start working his way into title contention. Maybe by the end of the year he's fighting for a title. That division 140 is going to be really wide open, in my opinion, at that point, you know, to where we're going to have multiple champions again. Barrios can work himself back into the mix, you know. He's got time, he's young, he's got nothing to hang his head about. So, you know, that's him. Now, Gervonta Davis, what hurts Davis is that Mayweather and the PBC, in my opinion, are not going to get him the opponents that they should get him. You know, there are major fights to be made. Davis made it clear that he'll fight at 140 again, but he would much rather fight at 130, 135. There's bigger fights to be made at those two weights anyways, especially 135. 135, to me, has become maybe the third best division in boxing right now. I really believe that. You know, you have the four young lions, and then you have, in my opinion, the guy who's going to be the king again, Vasily Lomachenko, and you got the four young lions: Lopez, Gervonta Davis, Devin Haney, and Ryan Garcia. And I honestly don't know if Davis wants to, or it's his promoter that they don't want to get one of these big fights, because that should be next for him. For me, there isn't. I mean, I think I'm throwing this out there, who I think he's probably going to fight next. I'm rolling the dice, and I'm going to make a prediction to say I wouldn't be surprised if it's Isaac Cruz, because he's a lightweight contender. He's a comer, he's a brawler, and he fights for the PBC also. So I think it's probably going to be Davis versus Cruz at lightweight for Davis's next fight. But should it be Cruz? No, it shouldn't. It should be one of the big dogs in the yard. But you know what? Maybe he fights Cruz, leaves no doubt, and where he has no options, maybe Lomachenko's more in top rank, and they can come together because Lomachenko's champ again. Lomachenko's willing to fight Davis. Lomachenko's willing to fight Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. You know why? Because Lomachenko's already established. So he'll give one of these young lions a shot. I understand partly why some of these young lions aren't fighting each other yet, because they want the fights to be major and big. And in all honesty, Davis has the big win over Santa Cruz. Who else is a big name on his resume? He doesn't really have any big names. He's got nice wins. The Jose Pedraza win is a very good win on his resume. Knocked him out. The Mario Barrios win is a nice win on his resume. Knocked him out. But big names, it's really Leo Santa Cruz. You look at Ryan Garcia. Big names, who does he have? He beat, knocked out Luke Campbell. That was a big win. You know, he faced adversity, but that's really his only big win. Devin Haney, he's got Jorge Linares. That's his only big win. And then you have the other one, which is Teofimo Lopez. He knocked out Richard Comey. That was a nice one. Won his first world title, and he's got the win over Lomachenko. But other than that, who does he have? You know, I think these guys want to build their resumes a little bit more before they clash into each other. I get that. Let's make these fights juicy. But at some point, they have to fight each other. So if these guys don't fight each other this year, next year there's going to be a lot of pressure to fight each other. You know, and in the meantime, get in line for the winner of Lomachenko-Lopez. But Gervonta Davis, that should be his plan with Mayweather and them to absolutely force a fight and make a fight. You know, let's go to the board. Let's see who the bigger name is. Let's do a Fury type Wilder deal and get both networks involved and work it out. But they have to do that. So I'm hoping Gervonta Davis is thinking big. My personal opinion is he's going to be fighting Isaac Cruz next, following this win over Barrios, and that will take place at 135 for his regular championship there. He's currently holding 3 belts at once. He has the Super Championship at 130, the regular championship at 135, and the regular championship at 140. So he is, you know, doing well for himself right now. I just hope he can get the big names, but my prediction is Isaac Cruz next for him. But you know, it really could be anybody. We really don't know. But that's it. That's the aftermath for Gervonta Davis and Mario Barrios following that their Showtime pay-per-view main event that took place Saturday, June 26th, where Gervonta Davis won a championship in his 3rd weight class with an impressive 10th round TKO over Mario Barrios. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed it. True Boxing, you been hit with the truth.